Alright, today I'm going to be going over Let's Be Rational Quiz 2-3 review. Number 1 says, on a particular map of Denmark, 1 inch represents 15 miles. So here we have about an inch, it equals 15 miles. 1A says, what does 2.5 inches represent? So we know that 1 inch is 15 miles. And we want to find out how far is 2.5 inches. So the first inch is 15 miles, the second inch is 15 miles. How much is that extra half worth? Well, it'd be half of 15, right? Which is 7.5. So you could add all of that up. Or you could say 2.5 times 15. When we're going to multiply mixed numbers with whole numbers, we need to go ahead and change this to an improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5 over 2 times, and we're going to make this 15 into a fraction by just sticking it over 1. And you end up with 75 halves. 75 halves is the same as if you came up here and divided. How many times does 2 go into 75? 2 goes into 7 3 times. 2 goes into 15 7 times. And you put your remainder over your divisor, and you get 2.5 inches equals 37 1/2 miles. B, what does 3 3/4 inches on a map represent? Write a number sentence to show your work. All right, so B, again, now we're going to have 3 3/4 inches times however far 1 inch is, which is 15. We're going to rename this as an improper fraction. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15. And we're going to rename the 15 as 15 over 1. Okay. So then you end up with 225 over 4. And you can simply divide that out if you do not know. 4 does not go into 2, so I put an X as a space holder. 4 into 20 goes 5 times, which is 20. 4 goes into 25 6 times, which is 24. I take my remainder, I put it over my divisor. 3 3/4 inches is going to be 56 1/4 miles. 2. Estimate each product, then find each product, show your work. So I'm going to estimate just in my head out loud, and then we'll actually find the product. So I'm looking for a half of, because multiplying means of, a half of 2/5. Well, if I have 2/5, 1/5, 2/5, half of it's going to be 1/5, right? So my estimate's going to be 1/5. So A, 1/2 times 2/5. If I choose, I could reduce before I multiply, and I end up with 1 over 5. So A is 1/5. B, 3.5 of 4/5. So I'm going to have visually, if I think about it, 3, and then a half of that would be 2/5. I have 3.5 4/5, right? So I'm going to look at this and say, well, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 fifths. That's about 3. So I'm going to say my estimate's 3. It's going to be a little high, but we're going to see. So 3.5 of 4/5. Rename this. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 2 times 4/5. If I choose, I may reduce before I multiply. I end up with 14/5. 14 goes into 5 2 times with a remainder of 4, and the denominator stays the same. 2 4/5 is the actual product. C, 10 3/5. So if I think about 3/5, that's about a half. So if I have 10 halves, that's about 5. So my estimate is about 5, but we're going to go ahead and multiply 10 times 3/5. I'll put the 10 over 1 before I multiply. I can reduce if I want. And I end up with 6 over 1. 5 was a little bit low. The actual answer is 6. 3. Estimate each quotient. Remember, quotient is just an answer to a division problem. Then find each quotient. Show your work. 2/3 divided into halves. I'm going to say, okay, so that's basically saying how many halves are in 2/3. It's going to be between 1 and 2, right? Because 1 is a little bit smaller than this, 2 is a little bit bigger than that. So let's see what we get. 2/3 divided by 1/2. Remember, we don't divide fractions. We flip the second and multiply. And you end up with 4/3, which is 1 1/3. Okay. So we are going to move on to B. B is 2.5 divided into 4/5 pieces. So 4/5 is almost 1. So I'm thinking my estimate, 1, how many ones are in 2.5? There's about 2.5. So my answer is going to be fairly close to 2.5. It's probably going to be a little bit bigger because this isn't quite 1. But that's my estimate. So I'm going to take 2.5 and divide it into 4/5 pieces. Rename this as 5/2. Flip the second and multiply. So I have 25 over 8. 8 goes into 25 3 times with a remainder of 1. So I end up with 3 1/8. All right, we're going to move forward to 4. Bob is making a treat bag for his daughter's birthday party. He decided to use the recipe below for each bag. He needs to make 6 bags so each friend can have one, and he wants to make a half of a bag for his 2-year-old brother to have. So we have a total of 6.5 bags that we're trying to make. How much of each ingredient will he need to make 6.5 bags? Write number sentences to support your answers. Okay, so let's look at peanuts. Peanuts, I need 2/3 of a cup for each bag. So we need to multiply 2/3 times however many we want to make. We want to make 6.5. I'm going to rename this as an improper fraction. 2 times 6 is 12 plus 1 is 13 over 2. So for peanuts, 2 times 13 is 26. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 goes into 26 4 times with a remainder of 2. 4 and 6 can be reduced by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So for peanuts, I need 4 1/3 cups to be able to make 6.5 bags. Pretzels, I need a half of a cup for each goodie bag. And I'm going to make 6.5 goodie bags, which is the same as 13 over 2. So that means I need 13/4. 4 goes into 13 3 times with a remainder of 1. My denominator stays the same. So for pretzels, I need 3 1/4 cups. Raisins, I need 3/5 of a cup per bag times 6.5 bags. 3 times 13 is 39. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 goes into 39 3 times with a remainder of 9. I need 3 9/10 cups of raisins. Popcorn, I need 1 cup times the 13 over 2, or the 6.5, and that's just going to give you the 6.5 cups. B, I had 3/4 of a bag of Halloween candy, and some friends came over and ate half of it. How much candy did they eat? Use a drawing and number sentence to support your answer. Okay, so we're going to draw when they arrived. What did I have? I had 3/4 of a bag of Halloween. So I'm going to draw what 3/4 looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. I have 3 of the 4 parts. When the friends came over, they ate half of what was there. So they ate this, right? So if I look at how many pieces this would have as a whole, it would have had 8 pieces. And the friends ate 3 of those pieces. As a number sentence, we are looking for the fact that they ate 1/2 of the 3/4 of a bag, which gives me 3/8 of a bag. So there's my number sentence, there's my drawing. C. I had half a bag of Halloween candy and some friends came over and ate 3/4 of it. How much did they eat? Okay, so here we have my Halloween candy. I have half. There's the half. Of the half, my friends came over and ate 3/4. So I'm going to split this into 4 pieces. They ate 3 of them. And now we have to kind of envision if this half was broken into 4, the top half has to be broken into 4. So that means originally the bag had 8 pieces and my friends ate 3. Visualizing that, they ate 3/4 of 1/2, which gives me 3/8 of a bag. So in both cases, they ate the same amount of candy. D. Explain how the problem A and B are similar. They are similar in that the friends ended up eating the same fraction of the bag. And explain how they are different. They are different because when the friends arrived, there were different amount of candy in the bag when the friends arrived, but they both ended up eating the same fraction of the original bag of candy. 5. Sarah's making pudding. She has 4.5 cups of milk. If she uses 2/3 of a cup of milk to make 1 serving of pudding, how many servings can she make? Explain your reasoning. So she has 4.5 cups. We need to make a bunch of little 2/3 pieces or parts. We want to figure out how many of these we can get out of that 4.5 cups. So what you are doing is you're taking that 4.5 and you're dividing it into 2/3 pieces. First step, make this an improper fraction. 2 times 4 plus 1, 9/2. Flip the second and then multiply. 27 over 4. 4 goes into 27, 6, which is 24, remainder of 3. 6 3/4 servings. We're trying to figure out how many servings she can make. All right, number 6. Julie is also making pudding. She started with 8 1/4 cups. She has used 1/2 of her milk. How many cups of milk has she used so far? Explain your reasoning. So you could visualize this. If I have 8 and I have 1/4, 8 would be 2 4s. Like here's 4 cups and 4 cups. And 1/4 would be 1/8 of a cup and 1/8 of a cup. So half of it would be 4 1/8. But mathematically, what you are doing is you are multiplying times 1/2. Or you could look at it as dividing by 2. I'll do the multiplying by 1/2. So we have 32 33/4 times 1/2. And you get 33 over 8. 8 goes into 33 4 times with a remainder of 1. So you end up with 4 1/8 servings. I'm sorry, 4 1/8 cups of milk is what she has used so far. If you have any questions, see me before the quiz. Thanks.